No. Our pilot funds have gone up.
Yeah.
We're going to have this conversation right as an added agenda item because I wanted to bring it up just as something to talk about. So.
Well, before I get started.
Okay, so this is
Okay.
started, so we have to start the meeting.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. Pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone. Present we have Tim Keeney, Selectmen, Todd Rowland, Director of Public Works, Kim LaFleur, Operations Director, Mike Marinaccio, Chief Financial Officer, and Brian Wissinger, the Assistant
Yeah, I'm
Finance.
gonna call him right now. So.
Will join us by telephone.
Oh.
First item on the agenda is the authorization to sign the USA hauling contract. So Todd, you want to lead us through that?
Yeah, our 3-year agreement with USA Hauling, and this is for all waste and recycling in the town of Somers, both at the transfer station and the stuff, if you will, that goes into the curbside cans, expired February 28th. We did an RFP and went out to bid, and we only had one bidder. That was USA Hauling and Recycling, our current vendor. The reason for this, we believe, is a couple reasons. We kind of have a hybrid model in Somers where we have curbside that the residents pay for the service for the truck to come to the house. The town pays for all of the waste that's put into the cans. And then we have the transfer station, and this contract includes hauling, recycling, bulky, and MSW, which is municipal solid waste or household trash, if you will, from the recycling center to wherever they deem appropriate to any licensed facility. So it's a bit of unusual setup. Most towns either do all of their own curbside, like either bigger towns like Vernon and Enfield and Manchester. They have their own guys, they do their own things. Or the smaller towns tend to hire a vendor to do curbside only, essentially. But the town pays for it out of their tax rate versus this hybrid situation we have in Somers. So it's a bit unusual. And I think that's probably the reason we only had one bidder for this RFP. We did post it in the JI for 5 days in the legal notices, which is long. I also reached out to Waste Management, Willimantic Waste, which would be the other two around here. Electronically, they didn't respond at all. I don't think they're interested in this kind of a contract, frankly. So USA Waste was our only bidder. Pretty much the same as last time. The difference is the rates have gone up dramatically, as we all have been reading about. They've been really good to work with. They held us harmless with these strange and crazy waste increases over the last few years because of the China's national sword policy that came into effect a couple of years ago. So frankly, I don't see any reason to try to do anything else, and I don't think anybody's going to bid on it anyway. They didn't bid on it this go around. So this agreement right here is a request to sign a new 3-year agreement with USA Hauling and Recycling based on the rates that are set forth in the RFP here, which are more than they were last time, obviously. Currently, well, not currently, we were paying $85 a ton for bulky waste. This contract goes to $95 a ton. Our MSW, which is our household waste, we were paying $80. This brings us to $104 a ton. Our single stream recycling stays at zero. In other words, it doesn't cost us anything to get rid of recycling. The difference is we're not getting any revenue back from that any longer because that's kind of changed as well. We used to get revenue back from the cardboard at least at $6 a ton. That went away a year ago.
But that just means we don't pay.
We don't pay to get rid of
solid
it,
waste.
right?
Yeah.
For the recycling, the single stream, the cardboard. We don't pay to get rid of it, but we don't get any money from the cardboard where we used to get some revenue out of it.
Fortunately, when you negotiated the last contract, we included that cardboard in it, so we benefited from
Yeah,
that last year.
I think we're making around 30,000, 35,000
Right.
from that. But because of what's happened with the waste markets, a lot of people are paying for for recycling to get rid of it. In this contract, we don't pay for it. So that is a bonus. There are a lot
But
of
we
things.
do pay to pick it up at the
Transfer station, yeah, we pay per,
at the home side as well.
well, the resident pays for
The
the
pickup
curbside pickup and their recycling and their trash.
This was the F&G contract I raised.
Correct,
at the
yeah,
last
that is
meeting.
all USA hauling.
That-
There's
that's
summer
from-
sanitation, F&G.
That's from the
yeah.
transfer station.
Well, there's two things. You have the waste that's picked up curbside,
Yep,
and then the waste that's picked up at the transfer station.
okay.
The USA owns several different companies. I mean, Summer Sanitation's one. They do the dumpsters at the transfer station.
So when a person pays to have their recycling picked up at their home, the town also pays to handle that.
Correct. What
Material.
we're paying for is what you put in the can. If a person subscribes to this service to have the curbside, to have the truck come to their house
Right.
curbside, that's what they're paying for, the truck to come to the house. Whatever they put in the recycling can and the waste can, the town pays for per ton.
To get rid of it. too.
Right, to get rid of it and dispose of it legally.
But in this case, the zero figure for now and no revenue in the future is,
For recycling.
right, we don't pay for it though.
Correct.
You don't pay for it by the ton.
No,
'cause
no,
of-
there's no
okay,
cost for the recycling
Okay,
or the single stream as
got
well.
it, thank you.
So we're still running at a deficit, which we have been for some time at this transfer
For waste,
station.
yeah.
This will add another $30,000 or so.
Yeah, or more depending on how it plays out.
Right.
We did look at going to full curbside, like say in Ellington or Tolland, or the bigger towns around us, and having a vendor come in. And to go fully to curbside, if you take into consideration, we'd probably reduce the hours at the transfer station, so you'd have a little bit of labor savings there. We're still looking at around 450,000 in addition to what we're already, if you like, losing for waste in town, to do complete townwide curbside, so every resident has a waste and a recycling bin on the curb for their home.
It would be paid for by the town.
Right, we would have to pay for that. That would be a whole new contract. And at the time, we said, oof, that's very expensive. It still is. It'll
Yeah.
probably be more now.
Yeah.
It's the model that most other towns do. If they do curbside, it's the town service that's provided through tax dollars. This is provided through tax dollars because of our losses from the waste, which is around $250-300 a year right now. You add another $400,000 a year in losses there. So, I don't see that changing, or I'm not recommending changing it at this point. There's a lot going on in the waste industry. Kate Dykes, the commissioner, to her credit, formed 12 different commissions about 18 months ago with all towns in Connecticut, looking at everything from the bottle bill to pay-as-you-throw, which is known as SMART, which is really, you buy the bag, you put your trash in it, and you pay whatever the
Wasn't
fee
that
is
in
for
the
the
recent
buck.
legislation that was possibly passed?
Yes,
Yeah.
it came out of
Couple
committee
days
in the
ago.
Senate, and then did they pass all of it? I know
I
there's
don't
like
know.
there's a laundry list of recommendations, and I don't know where that is. I know they looked at probably getting some of it. The bottle bill, I think, probably passed.
And the pay-as-you-throw is merely an elective program.
Correct. What they're
If
doing
the
right
town
now is saying they're giving some money to towns that want to try it or get into it. They've done pilot programs in some towns in the past, and financially it's a boom to the town because people reduce the amount of trash they're throwing away and increase the recycling. For us, if we can reduce that trash number, the recycling is free. At least the tonnage is free, so it saves the town financially. I think it's only a matter of time until they legislate pay-as-you-throw, because it really does reduce the trash. And to hit this goal of 60% diversion, I don't know any other way you're going to get there. And that's the way everything's headed, because it's so expensive now.
One thing for certain, getting rid of our trash is going to change dramatically.
Yes.
Okay? And people object to the fact that we tried to close that gap in terms of the loss, but it's a service which we offer
Right.
the town. At this stage of the game, we're better off doing what we're currently doing.
Exactly.
And minimizing the loss.
We do a lot of, producer responsible. We're members of the mattress care program, the paint care program. We have our household hazardous waste. There's a cost for that. We also do our e-waste. The e-waste, the mattresses, the paint care are all free, other than our labor to actually implement the program. It's all state programs, and it's funded by user pays. If you buy a mattress, there's a $5 fee that goes to the mattress, goes into this program. And, when our mattress can is full, we call them up, they come, they pick it up, they get us another cans.
Same with the tires.
Tires we pay. That's why we charge for tires. We have to pay to recycle
So
them.
the
But the paint is the
manufacturer
same.
doesn't pay.
Not yet, but there's a lot of movement afoot, particularly in the Northeast, for everything you can think of.
I just
you
bought a
know.
mattress, I had to pay a fee.
There's a fee in there, yep. There's a fee for
Right.
paint. It's a small fee,
It's
but it's,
$15.
yeah, well, mattress
for
box spring.
Connecticut. And I bought it in Mass, though, because I live in Connecticut, I had to pay the
Yep,
Connecticut
because
tax.
it goes into the mattress care program.
Okay, I was just curious, it's just something I noticed on my invoice.
There's also an issue in terms of states where probably are not going to accept the kind of garbage that they've been receiving.
Yeah, that's a
And
big
as a
problem.
result, you're going to have, you got problems with burning the stuff.
Yeah,
in
Mira,
terms
No,
of
you
trash
don't want
compacting.
Covanta runs Bondi's Island. They take it, but yeah, they have to have so many scrubbers and all of the air quality's tested all the time. So burn plants are a good waste to energy plant is a good option, but it's not a panacea. I mean, there's a lot of issues with it.
Connecticut's losing its last one, isn't it?
Yeah, Mira's got a real problem.
Yeah.
They need about, well, they say
Bridgeport.
300,
Yeah.
but it's going to be more than that if they
Oh,
try to do
jeez.
anything. Now, most of our trash is being shipped to Pennsylvania, some in New Jersey. There are some new waste facilities opening up in Maine, but they're owned by the Chinese, actually. So we'll see how that plays out.
So what do you estimate the total cost to be
Right
then?
behind the
for
Chinese restaurants.
difference between what we're paying now and what we're paying
It's an increase of
year.
about 100,000 a year, 100,000 a year,
every year?
yes, annually.
And the total we pay now is about 400,000?
What it costs us for waste in summers, if you take out the permit fees and the little fees we get for tires and things like this, we lose about 300,000 a year. It costs us about 300,000 to handle all waste in summers. Now we have to; it's state law. All residential waste we have to handle or provide for in some way, provide the residents some outlet for their waste. We do it probably one of the more efficient ways.
So it goes up by 33.5% a year?
No, it's 100,000. This new contract is 100,000 more than we're paying.
You paid,
On
but
the
you
open.
paid 300,000.
No, 300,000.
Oh, I'm sorry,
is the
300,000
loss,
is the
The
deficit
the
every
cost,
year.
The
The cost
deficit, yeah.
of every year. Yeah.
which will add another 30.
So it's really not,
based upon the
it's really
carbon.
not a profit center or a
Oh,
cost
no,
center.
not at all.
It's-
No, it's a-
No, it's a
it's a-
service
Yeah,
to the
exactly,
town.
yeah.
So-
But the townspeople, as you all know, have tried doing things in the past to try to get into the black, and it's a service they demand. I wouldn't mess with it, honestly, and
We've
until we're
listened-
forced to by the
We've
legislature.
listened, we're trying to be more efficient, but we're limited in terms of personnel.
We're going to keep I mean, textiles another big one, as well as food waste is now regulated. We don't have any big food producers, and right now, we didn't have any that hit the marks. I don't know if that bill that passed the Senate is that, because they were talking about cutting it in half, the amount of food waste that say a restaurant, you have so much food waste a year. If you get below a ton, so many tons a year, and I don't remember what it is, you then have to do something with it, and we have to be involved. You got to register and all that. But we didn't have anybody in town under the old law. I don't know if that new law is coming into effect yet.
So textiles is something that's coming down the pike?
Yeah, they're hitting big on textiles. We do accept textiles at the transfer station. There's the clothing boxes and things like that.
Churches.
Probably going to be looking at shoes in the future. South Windsor has a nice program that they're running for textiles that they have a vendor that's doing. They're out of Mass. But it's kind of the same thing. We'd collect them. They come and change out their boxes. The only cost to us really is the labor to do it. So we're always looking at things like that. Food waste, if that becomes a real issue, we're going to have to really look at composting, and that would bring up the horse manure and other manure and space and all of that. So there's a lot of moving parts on any of these things that you have to consider when you're looking at expanding service.
I would suggest the next Summer's Connect magazine, we have a blurb in terms of trash, talk about some of these issues, so people are more aware of what's coming down the pike.
Yeah, I'll write a piece on whatever comes out of the legislature.
Yeah.
And what actually passed. I'm pretty sure the bottle bill is
We've been
going from
wanting to
5
do
cents
that
to
for a
10.
while.
Yeah.
And they're including a
So-
lot more like wine bottles and some plastic bottles. I wish they were doing the nips, but I don't think the nips passed.
You think so?
It was part of the original bill. There's
Yeah,
a lot
I
of pushback from the industry.
Okay.
I wish they would do it just because they're all over the place. I mean,
Yeah,
you find
yeah,
them on the
yeah.
sides of
Side
the
of the
roads
road,
everywhere.
yeah.
Right, exactly.
I hate them. I think they should outlaw them.
Yeah.
Then there was an issue of, on the bottle bill, wasn't there an issue of the fees that don't get collected?
Oh, yes, yeah. Well, the
What's that?
nickels that aren't actually recycled,
Right.
they just go into the waste stream. they're thinking if they can bring it to a dime, which is better, you'll get more people doing it, so, but all of that
Doesn't
money
industry pays for the bottle though up front, right?
right, well, when you buy it, you pay for the
Right.
nickel.
And then when people don't recycle it,
There's a loss there.
there's a variance. Who gets that money is the big question.
That's right, yeah.
Used to
They
go,
had a lot-
they're trying to get
that's
to go
right.
to the general fund.
Right, right. But industry is always, I think it's
Got a
always
huge lobby.
kept that, yeah. I don't know what the law says. That's right, because there was a big fight
It's
about that,
big,
yeah.
it's been going on for 30 years.
Yeah, because there's a pretty good loss rate on the people that just don't recycle their nickels.
Recycle.
Yeah.
Well, we even do it at
Oh,
the
you
transfer
recycle,
station.
but you don't redeem.
Right.
That's the
Right.
point.
Yeah.
And we do it, the
That's
Boy
a big-
Scouts
big
actually do
difference.
it at the transfer station. There's a redemption center for nickels, and if you don't want to do it yourself, just bring them down there and throw them in the bin. The Boy Scouts use them for a fundraiser.
Right.
Right.
A lot of this is
Right.
educational.
Yeah.
We've
People
been
just
pretty-
don't know.
We've been pretty aggressive
Yeah.
with people who come to the transfer station to try to educate them, and for the most part, they're cooperative.
Yeah, I'd say a good 95% want to do the right thing. It's just complicated.
That's why an
Additional
article in Summers
discussion.
Connect would be helpful, yeah.
I'm interested
We've
to
been
see what
wanting to
comes
do
out of
that,
the legislature,
so
because
it
we
just
could
is
really,
always
like,
something
inform
else.
it around, this
Hot
is the new
topic.
laws and what it means to us.
We always have hot topics, so you never know.
There's a lot going on.
You know what I mean? So it's just always, well, it's just the trash always gets put, like, we've been talking about this
Yeah,
for what, a
we've been
year
talking
now?
about it for a while, yeah.
So we've been wanting to do this, so this
Any
is a
additional discussion?
golden opportunity, I guess.
So I'll need a motion and authorization.
I'll make a motion to approve the USA hauling contract.
I second that. Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kim, I'll sign
Thank
this,
you.
and you can witness this also.
Of course, sure. Good job, Todd.
Thank you.
Pass it
Talking about
to
trash.
her. Thank you.
The hot topic.
Thank you. It is.
Thanks, Todd. Brian, are you on the telephone?
I sure am.
Welcome. Could you lead us through the lease resolution?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is basically the same as every year. We put together our lease
I'll
package.
just take and give it.
All of these items came before the Board of Selectmen during the budget season and then went on to CIP afterwards. CIP then hammered down a little bit, took a few items off the list, created their fiscal 22 budget. The items that were eligible for lease were the SCBA tanks for the fire department. The ones that are currently in, or the ones that these are replacing, expire on June 30th. We cannot use them beyond that date. So there's tanks in this grouping to replace the expiring ones with. We have in here a police interceptor with all of its accessories that are needed, computers and so forth. There is a which one
Brian,
is it?
Brian,
Sorry,
Brian.
I'm throwing-
Oh,
Brian, I
list.
don't mean to interrupt you, but I mean, the item on the agenda is getting the resolution approved so that we can
Yep.
lease. And I think everybody has already gone through all of what we're leasing and how much it's going to be
Yeah, you have the
through the
amount
budget
there.
process.
It's
So
60.
they just need, the selectmen just need to authorize us to lease.
Right, they have to authorize Bud to enter into the agreement
Yes,
with the leasing company.
Correct.
right.
And did I send you guys the quote or no?
It's $69,633.90.
Yep, it's a 1.49% interest rate.
That's great.
Okay?
So make a motion to authorize the first selectman to enter into an agreement
Okay, I second
for
that.
leasing, for leasing, what?
Capital.
Capital improvements.
Police cruiser, 2 DPW trucks,
At a
and
cost of, do we have to put that in the motion? $69,633.90.
$90.
Okay, 90 cents.
Second, all
Beautiful.
in favor, all additional discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Brian, thank you.
Perfect, thanks. Kim, I'll need the minutes to send up with it, with the lease package as well, so whenever you can get those done and give me a copy.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, thank you.
I guess Todd stepped out for a minute to talk
I'll
about
be right
that.
back. I just.
Okay. Why don't we jump ahead to authorization of scheduled payments until Todd gets back?
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize payment authorization for $177,905.90.
Any additional discussion? Second, any additional discussion, Tim? in
I
terms
did, I
of
did have
those?
one question. I asked Brian earlier today about several items, but one he couldn't answer was on page 4 of 5, 3/4 of the way down the page, Shipman and Goodwin at vendor code 3486 for $1,356.50.
That's, again, that's for the mill. That's the negotiating back and forth between SCG on the terms of that agreement for the exclusive right to develop agreement. And then the other thing, I don't know if you pointed out.
We're going to get an update on that sometime soon, right? We haven't heard
Yeah.
much about it for months.
There's a tax refund on this. You
Yeah,
know
we're
that
supposed
that's
to
the
have Jeff
settlement.
come and do that,
That is the settlement with the Sunova.
Lawsuit.
Yeah.
Where is that?
That's on your first page. You'll see where it says tax refund. That's the amount of the settlement. You can. It's in the detailed report.
Yeah, Carl sent that to everybody.
Carl sent that to me asking us to cut a check. Once they received the check, then I guess the agreement.
That was a 50% deal we cut.
I'm not sure what you guys
Where
did.
is
what
it on
kind
the
of
first
deal.
page?
On the very first page, and that's right there. That first page right there at the bottom, it says tax refund.
Okay.
I must not have
You
gotten
giving this to me to
that.
give to Ann? I just always keep
Oh,
track.
Tax refund. It's in here. It's also in the
Whatever we send,
report.
especially
Sonova.
when we stay home, like, any labor stuff, or,
I see.
Yeah, look at the,
I'm not
Does he
exactly
need
sure
to
the
sign it?
page.
I gotta send it
Okay,
to Frank
and
and he's gonna sign it.
okay, and then when you get that, it'll go to Ann.
So the tax
Okay.
refund
I'll do
is
that.
coming
Just to keep
from
on
You can
file.
have that.
the
From
settlement of the
ta-
lawsuit?
It's a refund
I
from the
just need a
tax.
copy,
Yeah.
and I scanned it to myself.
Settlement. So
Yes,
we
yes.
we asked for something like
We
15.
Skipped
We
over
got.
Girl Scouts
We what?
to-
We asked for 15,000. I thought that was what was.
I don't know what we asked for. I was just told by the
Yeah, I'm just
by
curious
Carl
because this was all along. The
Yeah.
issue was, cost benefit, whether it's worth it to fight this thing or not. I'm just
At
curious
that amount, I would
where
say
it came out.
is not.
No.
Well, we,
But of course, it's the future
Oh, he's still-
annuity that you might have received for any additional. This was a very small component of it, if I recall.
It was about $15,000 or $16,000.
we figured half the loaf was better than no loaf at all, and of course legislation actually passed it, so we got 50% of what was due, right? Basically, that's what it comes down to. That was all sent by Carl in previous documents that he forwarded.
He sent you all an email on it.
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Yeah, it was sent.
Sent an email?
We can
Okay.
send, I can send it back out.
Okay.
No problem. I'll
And,
make a
and
note of
in
it,
that
so.
email, he told me to cut a check.
And it's
Yeah.
from Carl Angelino?
Yeah, it was sent to all the selectmen and to Mike Marinaccio and to Walter Topliff.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
All right. I can get that to you, Tom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm interested because I saw the legislation passed exempting
Yeah, yeah.
residential facilities
Yeah.
as of beginning of next year.
Yeah.
So, all in favor of payment authorization?
Aye.
Additional discussion? Sorry.
Thanks for pointing that out because I wasn't sure what that was.
Yeah.
Any additional questions or comments, Tim?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sign that. Welcome back, Todd.
Thank you.
We have a request from Seeley Larson regarding a sidewalk along Field Road.
Sounds expensive.
And I'll just read her request. I am contacting you today.
Which is this the Girl Scout project?
Yeah.
About trying to get sidewalks installed on my road, Field Road. I really think it would be a good idea for multiple reasons. For one, people like to go running on Field Road, but cars and motorcycles go speeding down Field Road. I feel like if there were sidewalks, people wouldn't have to run on the road. I also think it would be beneficial for the people walking down to the park, Connor's Place, also on Field Road. More people could bring their kids to the park. They would be safer walking down the road. Also, Field Road connects to the fairgrounds, which would be good for people walking from their houses to the fairgrounds during the fair season. I think this would help people get more active. People who may have been afraid to walk or run down the roads would feel more safer. I could go door to door and ask for people to sign a petition. I think sidewalks would be good for multiple roads and streets, but I think just doing from the beginning of Field Road to the fairgrounds. This is also for my Silver Award project for Girl Scouts. I await your response, email, or letter, and thank you for your time. I asked Todd to take a look at this. Todd sent her basically a response, which I'll highlight. He said the first step is to bring to the attention of the Board of Selectmen, which he's done in this meeting. Secondly, if the Board of Selectmen agree it is a project worth investigating, they will task the town staff with investigating the feasibility of it. Thirdly, next town staff would need to identify the scope of the proposed project, Should we propose sidewalks from Main Street down Route 83, right onto Field Road, and then all the way down? 4, once those decisions are made, we would then need to hire an engineering firm to draft preliminary plans. This would need funding. 5, next we would need to hold a public hearing to give the taxpayers and property owners along the proposed route a chance to look at the proposed project and voice their opinions. 6, after the public hearings and any changes made to the plans, we would need to secure funding. A public project of this scope would cost in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. We would most likely need to apply for state and or federal grant monies to fund it. 7, we would need to secure all permits from the Department of Transportation, Conservation Commission, Planning and Zoning, and complete any necessary land taking along the proposed route. And 8, once we have secured funding and permits, we would then draft a request for proposal or bid and award the contract to a successful vendor to construct it. I want to compliment Chaley for bringing this to our attention, but we're talking, I'll ask Todd for his opinion, hundreds of thousands of dollars to do this, and assuming we meet all these criteria that you've outlined in your 8 points.
Yes, particularly going all the way to the fairgrounds. I believe there'd be land takings involved, so you got some money there, also legal fees for that. And we had looked at this,
Land taking, how does that work? Doesn't the town have a right of way?
We do. It's about a 40-foot right of way down there, and depending on where.
Off the main part of the road?
No,
Center.
No, it's you really got to find all the property pins, and then figure out where the road is, because the road isn't necessarily in the middle. Some roads are, which is nice, but most of them are not. So it varies on where it's going. We'd have to look at, are we going to do it on the east side, west side, a mix? We're going to do crossings.
If you get objections from landowners, that could stop it.
Well, not only from that, but also because a lot of property owners don't want a sidewalk, because by our regulations, they have to maintain them and clear them of snow, particularly. And the ones we have now don't do it. So adding more is always fraught with pushback. I love the idea. I think particularly connecting Main Street down, which is something Jeff Ward had done some preliminary plans a few years ago, looking at connecting the center of town and even doing a trail down down to Geisler's, but also down to the park.
I actually would like that.
I think it would be well used. There are some sticking points, particularly in front of New England Tractor Trailer. We'd have to do something about putting in some kind of an island system, and with their input on how we would get around where they run their trucks in and all, and things of that nature. So there would be quite a bit of engineering preliminary work involved in this. There is money available for projects like this through LOTSIP and through other, either CROG grants or state grants. Sometimes there's Tiger grants through the Fed. So there's money out there, but there's a lot of work that has to go in ahead of time. And there's going to be consultants that would have to be hired ahead of time that the town would have to pay for. My guess on a consultant like this is probably around $25,000 going rate. We actually talked to one because there was some grant money when we were talking with DOT about doing a roundabout here that's available. And the first step in getting these grants is, do you have a plan? Do you have an engineered drawings? Do you have a plan? You don't have to, but you don't get any points if you don't. All of this stuff is based on points. The more points, the more likely your project's going to rise to the top, so to speak, and get awarded some money.
And when it gets awarded, is it 100% or is it 80%?
No, it just depends on the grant. I mean, they can be anywhere from 50 to 80%. Typically, they're never 100%. Now, COVID money notwithstanding, which is a little bit weird, it's unusual.
Yeah.
There may be something in there. I mean, there is a lot for rec that we're going to look at.
Yeah. I think
Sidewalks
it's too early to say on
Yeah.
sidewalks in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other priorities.
What kind of policy does the town have for sidewalks? Just curious. I'm sure it's changed over time because there were sidewalks put in long ago.
Mainly, it's about snow clearing, clearing the sidewalk. The maintenance, as far as if the sidewalk becomes a problem, the town will go out and fix it and replace the
Not
sidewalk.
about locating new ones. That's what I'm
Oh,
talking
that
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not aware of any ordinances.
We had some
about that.
discussions about 8 or 10 years ago regarding a walkable
Yeah. a
Community.
community, but
Heart healthy community,
more healthy community, that's correct.
walkable.
We looked at doing a trail down the stream connecting
Yeah.
Summersville and Summers, which I would love that. I'm a hiker.
Yeah.
That would involve land takings and private property. And a lot of people are not comfortable with people walking behind their properties.
Mhm.
That's another issue you run into with pushback. So the idea is great. I think more sidewalks benefits people. People get out
They
and
do.
walk them. It's a process to go
And
through.
the cost.
And a cost, and you really got to listen to
Priority
what are the residents, do they like this idea, or are they just, is it dead on arrival? So we just don't know.
So this is basically came from a project of a Girl Scout who,
Correct.
like a
It's a worthy project,
Yeah.
but I guess my concern is
like an Eagle Scout type
Yeah.
project.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, it illustrates the complexity of something like this. The
Yeah.
concept is, I like sidewalks, but B,
Getting from here to
getting from here to
completion
there is quite complex and expensive
who's
process.
going to pay for it, that's correct.
That's what it comes down to, and it really would be. I can talk with Jeff about
Does
it.
she not get credit for it if we don't approve it?
I don't know.
It's a great
I
idea.
can make her the
Could she get
president.
credit
We
for
can
going
get
door
her-
to
we
door? I
can
mean,
do
that's
like
that's
a,
tough. I mean, if she's
you know,
willing to do that, that's
Some
great.
kind of certificate
Well,
or
there
something
there
for
could be simpler, less
certificate of
expensive
appreciation for
projects.
her
You know,
good,
this is a major,
idea.
major.
Well, and it brings up the question, and when I was thinking about it, I mean, if you want sidewalks on Field Road, okay, but they don't go anywhere. So are they going to
Who's
connect
gonna
to
use them?
to South Road? And that really should connect to Main Street if you're
Yeah.
going to
I
have.
think down here to
Mm.
Geisler's would be good, but
Yeah,
to me, just
I
'cause,
agree.
You know, you get people that, they walk around here.
Yeah.
Everybody's up
Oh,
here,
yeah.
and I would walk down there at lunchtime instead of taking my car. But
And you get problems with the intersection in terms of what the state's
Yeah.
going to do with that. So
Yeah.
this is a very complicated
It is,
process.
yeah. If we had a better idea if the state's going to move forward on it in the intersection, they will include sidewalks in their final
Yeah.
design. I don't know where they're going to end them.
yeah,
If they do it, great, they're paying for that. And it's
Well,
all
that
their
costs-
that
funds.
little bit on front of Dunkin' Donuts, and that's
Yeah,
it. You
any
know what
new
I mean?
developments have to
yeah,
put a sidewalk.
right, exactly.
The cost of that intersection is between
Yeah.
$5.4 and $6 million.
Yeah.
I doubt if it's going to get done. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it was a good thought. So.
Well, we
No,
tried.
the intersection project, they're talking about, doubt that that's going to get done.
Yeah,
It's been on the books for,
yeah.
Yeah, we spent a lot of
Just
time
keep doing this.
justifying
We're getting a
it.
generator for town hall town.
Eventually, that's
It
delayed
can
because
happen.
it's coming,
I
but
have faith.
that is actually
And
delayed
hope.
as well because all these supply chain issues. We're pushed off to next month. Hopefully that it comes in next
We
month.
can hope, right?
maybe we
So-
can say that it's premature at this
Yeah.
stage of the game.
We'll drop her a note, thank her for her proactive.
But is this something that
involvement.
we could put on file? I mean, if there ever was
Okay.
an interest down the road of
Sure.
pursuing.
Yeah.
Well, I could go, I mean, I could talk to Jeff and see if he's got some preliminary plans. He could do a sketch essentially. And then I could talk to the consultant I was talking to about getting some money for a project like this and get an opinion of cost for their consulting work. And I could bring it back to the board sometime this summer and say, well, this is really, step one would bring in a consultant and do a feasibility study. Here's what it would cost. How we fund that, I don't know. At least we'd have a number.
But that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the start.
Yeah.
Right, oh, that's just the beginning,
Yeah,
yeah.
Running legal fees.
Oh, yes.
What
oh, yeah.
would that cost, the feasibility?
They were quoting me around
investigation?
20 to 25,000 for
The feasibility?
Yeah, what they do is they bring this feasibility study, and then they do preliminary plans, and they husband it through it was a lot set process at that time. It doesn't include any hard engineering stamped plans or anything like that. Or any of if you've got other studies, if DOT wants a transportation study, if you've got wetlands issues, it's a generic, typical sidewalk plan, if you will.
Yeah.
So we'll table it for the time being, but if we can do some preliminary discussions. But I mean, it's going to be hundreds of thousands of
Yeah, oh
dollars.
yes, project like this, yes.
And that's assuming, of course, it's smooth sledding, which, you know, you're going to get objections.
I
course.
do too, I think the residents would object.
Right.
Um,
I didn't think about the connection from Field Road to
Center of town.
center of town. That's not even included in this,
Right.
right?
But you really have to, if you're gonna do anything with that scope, I think it's gotta go somewhere.
The master plan.
Can't just dump them on 83.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jeff. The next item
Todd.
is, I'm sorry?
Todd,
It's been a long week.
said thank you, Jeff.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would just say Jeff Ward.
I'll send a note to Jeff thanking him too.
Tell him he's not gonna do the feasibility study.
You know, listen, I applaud what she's doing.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it's
it's-
great. The point is, we have
Yeah,
priorities
there-
here,
and-
and our responsibility as a board is to rank those priorities based upon our ability to fund them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just not the cost of the funding, it's the time and the labor.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna have staff time and.
And
Yeah.
just compete
In
against
time.
other ideas.
Correct.
Absolutely.
I mean,
of course.
Yeah,
I can tell you, for
Discretionary
example,
dollars.
yeah.
you know, the 12-page study I did in terms of justifying this intersection change with 3 different options, we were told we're way down on the list.
Yeah.
Okay? And you find somebody like Stafford that gets a rotary, which
When's
I
that
never
building
understood.
Well, they do, most of those are done on point scales. I mean, I know we go to the bridge meeting every year, and, you know, we've got bridges in town. We have 4 that we're responsible for. But and everything's on 0 to 100 points, and our bridges are high 70s, low 80s. You know, and I bring it up, and we'd like to, you know, do a little bit of work here and there, but then you hear of these other towns, some of the bigger towns, their bridges are 23. And, I mean,
Gonna
our
collapse.
likelihood of getting funding
Yeah.
is low. I mean, fortunately, but unfortunately, in some cases, our roads and bridges are in pretty good shape, so that's just the way it works.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Todd and Jeff. The next item is the approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 3rd Board of Selectmen meeting.
Okay, I second that. Any additional discussions or corrections? All in favor?
Just Barbara O'Boyle, is that with a capital B, second B?
I don't know,
I
sorry.
would think so.
Spell check was all over the road with all those
But
names.
you got Barbara O'Boyle.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'll correct that. Sorry, Barbara.
Barbara O'Boyle.
Same thing with the agenda items.
I know, that was a
Same
copy
thing
and
with
paste.
Catholic at the end, Pete Catholic with capital K.
I looked at everything, okay.
All right, I'm just.
No, that's good, sorry.
Let's just jump out of it.
It's all good.
The last item, before we talk about opportunity to add agenda items, due to the recent snafu at prior Board of Selectmen meetings regarding adding agenda items, I want to read the procedure covered by the Freedom of Information Act, which will be the modus operandi moving forward for all opportunity to add agenda items. According to the Freedom of Information Act, you are able to bring forward new items on your agenda with 2/3 vote to do so. unless the agenda item is something you did not anticipate needing to add to an agenda 24 hours prior to a meeting. You should not do it. It should not be a standing agenda item on your agenda. It is deceitful to the public and may constitute a violation of the open meeting portions of the Freedom of Information Act. Each time you do want to add to the agenda, prior to adding it, you need to give some details of the item you are adding. Not just a general quote, I move to add items to the agenda. We've done this in the past. That is too wide open. You need to be specific about the agenda item is, and specifically why it was not available 24 hours earlier. So the way I read this, we've been skirting this opportunity to add agenda items. We should basically alert everybody 24 hours prior to setting the agenda that we intend to add these as an agenda item. So I want to make sure that we're following the FOIA requirements.
So in other words, we can't bring up items like I was hoping to just discuss this.
Well, what they're saying is 24 hours ahead of time.
So if we know,
if we know
if you
ahead
know
of
you're
time.
going to bring this to the table.
Well, if he didn't know and he missed the deadline, I guess he
I
could
try to
probably, he
do-
could probably bring it
Well,
up.
that's something we can discuss too.
Yeah.
With Tim and
It
Tim.
would be nice to have an informal ability just to
Yeah,
raise
of
some
course.
questions.
I understand.
Just-
Sure.
But I understand, but I want to make sure that we follow the rules because everything is FOIA
Yeah.
accessible, so when
And I
Tim
can
comes
always
back to the
reach
next
out.
meeting, we can discuss this.
Right, and I
issue.
can reach out to the other board members and,
Yeah.
and just, you could just give me the agenda items and I can add them, so at least it's something.
I think
versus
people,
putting
I think the
opportunity-
board members probably know ahead of time, certainly a day ahead of time, items they probably want to add, so.
Yeah,
just-
and sometimes, like, if I forget to put something, then that was just, like the planning thing today, we couldn't add that, so. But, anyways.
Okay.
So in other words, we can't add an agenda item then unless.
No.
No
That's
such
based
thing.
on what he just said, but
Yeah, based upon giving us 24
But we
hours
can
notice.
bring it, I could put it on the next agenda.
Yes.
Next agenda for discussion.
You made a copy of that?
Absolutely.
This is the $12.8 million for an Enfield police station with regional safety complex.
Oh, where's that, Sunfield?
Yeah, towns
Wow.
of East Windsor, Suffield, Windsor Locks, and Enfield. I suspect it's maybe Hartford County only. I don't know. Maybe that's why Summers.
So I don't see this as a major deal. I think all of us pretty much know what we want to talk about, so we'll just give notice 24 hours ahead of time. So won't be in compliance then. That's all I have. Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thanks for your help, Todd.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Oh, did you adjourn?
I did.
Okay, did you do that? Thank you.
Yes.